You're showing up in someone else's home, if you will. You're showing up on their territory. And to come empty-handed is, in my opinion, a wasted or a missed opportunity. When we show up with the hospitality to say, hey, I'm coming into your space. Here's something that I'm going to bring. Man, I just think it makes the meeting better.
Yeah. Mitch, we were having a conversation recently, and you said something I found interesting. You said that you see a similarity, a connection between a great family gathering, like a reunion, and a great business meeting.
Yeah.
Explain.
Yeah, well, recently my wife and I invited all of our family on one side of our family over to our place. The text thread started up of the invite of everyone involved, and people are responding, hey, we'd love to come. And, we live in Northern California, so we're on the West Coast, and we have family in Southern Cal, all through the Midwest, even on the East Coast. And so we were seeing just a great response of people wanting to come get together.
Well, this was after COVID.
Yeah.
So everybody wanted to go someplace and party.
Yeah, I think we were all feeling a bit pent up and ready to just kind of get back together and do the celebration. And so we did. And what we were able to actually get is over 40 people arriving for 3 or 4 days to just gather and be together and eat tons of food and just have an incredible time. But one of the things that I noticed when that text thread went out that struck me was once people were saying, yeah, I'm going to come, the next question was, what can I bring? And it just made me begin to think about that. Like, wow, there wasn't an ask that we needed to make, but a natural response and people showing up to our home, even before they got their airline tickets, was, what can I bring?
I want to bring something.
Yeah, and so it started this conversation. But for me, what I begin to realize is there's something in us that knows gatherings are better when everyone brings something to share. I mean, you think about Thanksgiving, right? I mean, when Thanksgiving goes out, we all celebrate that. Everyone brings their dish, and so there's the turkey, there's the rolls.
There's the deviled eggs.
There's that one dish that's sitting on the table. No one really knows who brought it or what to name it. No one claims it,
That's right.
But the fact is I think we just know that gatherings are better when everyone brings something to share. And so the thought that I began to have was, well, if that's true in a gathering, isn't that possibly true in a meeting? Could meetings be better when everyone brings something to share?
Interesting. Well, that implies, Mitch, that all of us can bring something.
Yeah.
And I've been in meetings where clearly there were people either who didn't want to contribute or didn't feel that they could contribute.
Yeah.
Maybe the introverts in the group. Are you saying that we all have something to bring?
Yeah, I am saying that. And I think one of the things that we can do in our meetings is treat them more like family, because there's this sense of when we show up in a gathering and it's family, we take the formalities off and we just assume I'm going to bring something. I've got something to bring. You want me, I want you. Let's bring it together and have a party.
Yeah, even if you don't recognize what I brought and nobody eats it, I still need to contribute.
Yeah, exactly. So this sense of when I show up into a meeting, taking the formality off to a point to go, we have something to bring, and the chemistry, the dynamic of what we bring into that meeting will actually make it better. Now, again, it doesn't need to be a dish, at Thanksgiving or something specific. It can just be something as simple as your time. Maybe it's your talent or your expertise. I know many of those that we support and serve are bringing their expertise into those meetings. So, what is that nugget of advice that you're willing to give freely? And it might be a literal card. Maybe you're remembering someone on their birthday, or it's a holiday, or maybe there's a sympathy of a loss in their family, and you're taking a moment to bring something into that to make it better. just goes a long way.
Yeah. Now, these moments are primarily for financial wholesalers and advisors. How does this principle apply to them?
Well, again, if gatherings are always better when everyone brings something to share, and we can take the leap that says meetings are better when everyone brings something to share, well, we know that the financial wholesalers and the advisors that we support here at Executive Scheduling Associates are holding meetings. In fact, they're hosting meetings. Usually, they're inviting themselves into the office or the context of their client.
Yeah.
So they may not be showing up in someone's kitchen or in their backyard for a barbecue, but you're showing up in someone else's home, if you will. You're showing up on their territory. And to come empty-handed is, in my opinion, a wasted or a missed opportunity. When we show up with the hospitality to say, hey, I'm coming into your space, here's something that I'm going to bring, man, I just think it makes the meeting better.
Yeah. And I assume what you're envisioning is more than the pitch. Obviously, a wholesaler or advisor is bringing their product pitch, their sales pitch. But I'm remembering my most recent annual review with my financial advisor. And the first thing that happened in that Zoom call was he asked me how my vineyard was going.
Yeah.
Now, you'd have to understand that I'm an aspiring vineyard manager.
Absolutely.
I know nothing about this. I've never been a farmer, but I want to figure this out. And he remembered that. And so he started the meeting by saying, how's your vineyard going? That touched me. It moved me. He brought to that meeting something personal that thrilled me.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when we step into those moments like your advisor did to make it feel personal and bring a sense of interest, we always make that meeting better.
Yeah. So what's the point?
Yeah, well, the point again is if gatherings are better when everyone brings something to share, then I would propose that meetings are always better when everyone brings something to share. So maybe the difference between a good meeting and a better meeting or the best meeting is simply in asking a different question. You know, instead of getting caught up in what am I going to get out of this meeting, which we all fall into that place in business. In the rhythms and the pace that we run, we sometimes can get into that transactional mode. But slowing down long enough to approach the next meeting, instead of asking the question, what am I going to get out of this? What can I bring?